today I want to talk about pushing and prevention of tearing. It's up there with one of the biggest fears that moms have in childbirth. So, in my midwifery care, in New Orleans Midwives Midwifery Care, we talk about this prenatally. Not with everybody, because not everybody has this fear or a bad experience with a past baby, but it's definitely something that should at least get asked if that is a concern, because it is a very common one. And a lot of moms are put at ease just given more information as to what that looks like with a midwife, and like what are some preventative things we could do and things like that. So first, prenatally, like I said, we talk about it, is what is your pelvic floor like? So there's people who actually have really tight pelvic floors that are most likely to have really tight pelvic floors. So like your CrossFit moms that are your bodybuilders, your dancers, your horseback riders, or your overly anxious mom, right? That keeps her shoulders up like this and her butt is clenched and she's just uptight, right? Same with the bodybuilders. So they might have a really chill personality, but everything is just rock solid. You know, it looks awesome for a bicep, but your pelvic floor shouldn't necessarily be so tight. Not just in childbirth, like in everyday life, it can cause problems whenever you have too tight of a pelvic floor. So, like, you shouldn't have pain with peeing, pooping, and sex. And if you do, you should get that checked out, because that's an area that shouldn't have problems like that. And it's almost always linked to a too tight pelvic floor. And obviously in childbirth, we need a relaxed pelvic floor as well. Not just for prevention of tearing, but to cut down on your pushing time. And if you go to an actual pelvic floor therapist like Amber Anderson, she can even tell you like what's your ideal position for pushing according to your personal pelvic floor. It's really awesome. Your first time mom, sometimes a second time mom, but most common first time mom, you're gonna have a baby that is gradually descending with pushing, you know, so the average is about an hour for first time mom pushing, where the head just like goes down, like, you know, is going down the canal and then goes back up. So you're pushing and it goes all the way down, and then you feel discouraged because it's going back up, or maybe your partner feels discouraged because they're like, well, this work and it's going back. But actually that's your body's way of gently stretching you. The vagina is stretchy. So as long as you give it enough time to stretch, it will. So, yeah, so the gradual descent, it just a little bit at a time. You start with just seeing like maybe this much, like this much and this much, and it just grows, and you're not seeing the tearing. So actually whenever we see the crown of the head, so that's like this part of the head, that's going to be the widest stretch. So we're going to encourage moms like not to push, to actually just blow the energy out. We call it horse lip, so it's just going, because there's so much energy flowing through your body when you're pushing that you feel like you have to push the baby out. But slowing down at that point really, really makes a huge difference on if you tear or not. So yeah, blowing it out instead of channeling it down, because you'll hear us, you know, if a mom is needing coaching, we'll encourage you to, you know, channel the sounds. A lot of moms are making sounds. Channel it down, you know, the deep moans, and using the breath to go down, you know, things like that. So that is a big piece, is like slowing down pushing, not controlled pushing. So not doing the hold your breath, count to 10, do it 3 times in this one contraction. Like, no, you're pushing with the amount that your body wants you to push. So, yeah, I just don't feel like our bodies are meant to give that much of a forceful push with one contraction. Our babies need more oxygen than that. We need more oxygen than that, just the oxygen piece. But then our bottoms also need more time to stretch. So, anyways, we definitely do purple pushing, mainly for that reason. And, midwives, we have other tools of assessing if the baby's okay or not. We're not concerned if it's taking a while. We're looking at the baby's scalp. Does it look okay? Yes. Okay, good. We're listening to the baby's heart tones. Sounds good. Then there's no reason to rush this pushing phase. The baby, your body needs to stretch. So we let the process take what it needs to take as long as everything's fine. Let's see. Also, counter pressure. So that's a big thing that a lot of people know about is I want the counter pressure. So let's talk about why counter pressure is actually helpful. Most people think it's just because you need the warmth to the blood to like bring more blood to the area, which is certainly true. A lot of our moms are having water births, and so they're already in a warm tub, which is just pumping a lot of blood to the area because everything's nice and warm and very great. So like your vagina can stretch better whenever it has a lot of, blood flow to the area, as you could imagine, right? So if you're not in a tub, warm rag, like, we'll do a crock pot, or even just like if you don't have access to that in the hospital, you can get just like keep going and like warming a rag, like have a bowl of warm water, that helps. But yeah, so if we're not having a birth in the water and it's somebody's first baby and it's going to be a little while, maybe we're pushing outside of the tub for a little while, we'll have a crock pot with some water and olive oil and some essential oils, and we're just swapping out rags to apply that counter pressure. So you are getting the warmth that way, but it also helps with keeping the baby's head flexed. So the baby actually comes out where, the back is in the front is the ideal position for birth. And you want to apply the counter pressure to like this portion of the baby's head so that the baby can stay tucked and you're getting this part, the smaller diameter of the head, to go out first, which is going to help your tearing or not, lack of tearing. And let's see, so it's keeping the baby flexed, and then you have the counter pressure to help it slow down. So even if first baby or not, it's always a good thing to have the pushing phase slow down if it's coming fast, right? So that's going to help give your body more time to stretch, like we were just talking about. So that's why counter pressure is helpful. Like 3 things in one right there with the counter pressure. Not doing coach pushing. We talked about pushing with your urge and the gradual descent. So you're like what that looks like. So some people like don't appreciate it because they feel like it's like losing ground, but I try and teach it in a way where it's like, no, you want that to happen because you're like, thank you, baby, for gently stretching your mom. We'll say stuff like that, which I just think is just such a beautiful difference when you're talking about the birth atmosphere, because we're giving the mom positive feedback, like, look at your baby gently stretching you. Thank you, baby. So those are the kind of things you would hear, and no one telling you, okay, now hold your breath. I feel like I see on the monitor contractions coming, so it's time for you to hold your breath, count to 10, and then let's do that 3 times. You got another one? I can see you're like lacking oxygen, but let's do it again. That whole scenario we've all seen. We're not doing that. So you're just pushing as your body needs. And occasionally if we do get feedback, it's like, I can see that you're holding back from that push. Try and push past it. So we're even like recognizing, like, I can see there's a little bit of fear here because maybe it's getting more intense, or you're feeling that you're getting closer to that crowning phase, but it's okay. You kind of have to mentally prepare yourself to go through it, we talk about that even throughout labor. Like, it's one of those things that just doesn't feel like it's the right thing to do. Like, you feel like you're breaking your body, but that's exactly what you need to do to get through. Labor is kind of this only place where it feels wrong, but knowing that you're safe and this is the process and why you're feeling these sensations and what they are really just helps you mentally be able to get through birth without that fear piece holding you up, because that's huge. Lots of moms, like, they birth their baby and they're like, did I tear? They're like, they want to know, and they don't know that they did or not, because you don't really notice it. Like, if so, like we said, the gradual descent, you're not usually tearing during those times. Obviously, there's a rare case, but generally it's like right at the crowning phase if you were to tear some, but you don't notice it because the skin is so blanched, and it's just it's a different sensation. It doesn't feel like tearing. It feels like pressure. Obviously I'm not saying like it's across the board for every woman. Every woman has their own experience. But in my experience, most moms are like, did I tear? Because they don't know. It doesn't feel like you would imagine in your not giving birth brain that what a tear would feel like. So, yeah, I mean, same with like labor. It's totally different. There's just the hormone cocktail that you experience in labor and in birth and postpartum is just one that is extremely underestimated. And I think that it's sometimes hard when you haven't gone through it yet to imagine like, wait, this is the kind of, pain that you're feeling now. Like, yeah, we do see tears, but unless the tear goes through the muscle, it's actually just, or it doesn't like line up appropriately, then we'll suture that so everything like is lined up. But yeah, if it lines up and it doesn't tear into the muscle, then we don't need to suture that. It's just considered cosmetic at that point. And if you are truly honoring your body and giving yourself a week of bed rest after your baby is born, your body's gonna just like heal so quickly. It really is for the women who are like up and at it as the next day after having their baby and not giving time for their body to heal. Like, okay, I can see why an OB that maybe doesn't promote postpartum healing would want to suture, but we are really of the belief that your body, because you hear a lot of times of women that were sewed up too tight, and not normally, okay, that's not the right word. So we believe that your body will heal with what it needs, how much needs to go back. Because sometimes there's the issue of the too tightness, and there's a lot of pain with sex. And childbirth sometimes makes it a lot better. So you certainly don't want to run into the issue of being sewed up too tight and then having a lot of pain. Your body's going to heal what it needs to go back. So yeah. Our bodies are so smart. That's what is just amazing about childbirth, that really if you just know how to support natural birth and these, birth guardian ways to help a mom, then your body knows just what to do. So I hope that helped ease some fears around tearing, because like I said, we're not seeing it very often, and we're having a lot of moms that don't even know that they did tear. So and then even postpartum, like it goes into so much more that we can help with, far as like the sitz bath herbs and just the different herbs that we recommend to like help you feel your most comfortable. So yeah, I hope that helps. If you have anything else that you would like for me to talk more about, please leave it in the comments and let me know.